This is going to be a quick review of how to do task A. You'll see my screen here, the voice. I will say this is I'm doing this on a Mac, so it might look slightly different, particularly with the GitHub client on a PC. But that's sort of one of the things we're covering this semester. You need to sort of figure out how things might change slightly from machine to machine and how to still be able to move ahead. So first part of this is we're going to fork this repository, and I'm assuming you have already signed up for GitHub for this. So I just click on this link. And this takes me to the GitHub page, New Maths Plus Geo409. This is the repository that we're going to fork or copy over. Just to show you, this is my current GitHub account for this class. I don't have anything in it. There's a couple activities, but I've been playing around with it, so you can ignore that for now. So going back to this one, where it's Geo409, module 3, and I want to fork this particular repository, which I do simply by clicking on fork. It brings me up a couple choices because I have a couple different repositories on this. It's not going to be as complicated for you, but you probably have one choice on here. So I select the one I want, which is Matt Zook, and it does this little waiting bit, essentially copying it over. And you can see that this is my repository now. Used to be empty, but now I have this module -3. There's not much in here. If we open this up a little bit, you can see it's just got that one index file. Not a whole lot. Alright, so that's the first step. Second step is to clone my new forked repository to my local computer. So again, this forked repository is on the web right now, but I want to bring it down to my desktop, to my computer. So I'll just go down here and click down at this button down here, clone in desktop. You might PC version might be slightly different or located someplace different. So I click on this and I say save it to my desktop. I get a bunch of options. This is my particular directory structure. This is where you would put it somewhere locally on your USB stick or somewhere in your hard drive. And again, this is where file location really makes a difference. So I'm going to clone this as Geo409, the name of the class, and I'm going to be cloning this entire repository, including that sort of module 3, down on my local hard drive. I simply do that by clicking clone. You can see it goes down, and you can see in addition to these other repositories, I now have this Geo409 repository, and this is my local repository, or repository on my local disk. So I now have a local copy and a web copy. So we only have this one directory in it, and we need to copy it. And that's pretty straightforward. People were a bit confused about this, but all you really need to do is to go into whatever directory software or whatever you do, and make a copy of this particular directory. It's just like you do it in File Manager, or you do it in Finder on the Mac, and you don't actually do it through the GitHub client. So we have this, and before I go back, let me just go back to GitHub, and you see there's nothing here. There's no changes listed. Now, as I soon as go over to the Finder, and I make a copy, so I'm just going to copy it, and I now have a module 3, which I'm going to make sure, for whatever reason, it didn't end up in the directory. Oops, and I can't put that in, so I'll rename it first. Just make it TaskA, and then I'll put it into my Geo409 directory. You can see there's an index file and an index file here in both of these. It's essentially TaskA is just a direct copy of these two of the module 3 program. And if we go over to GitHub, you can see, oh, suddenly it has all these different, there's changes happening. Something's happening here, and you can see, see that TaskA index HTML is shown up. We won't commit it there and sync it yet, because first we have to do the next step, which is open TaskA index HTML file in brackets and add our name and change the location. So that's pretty straightforward. I have brackets open already, so I'll just go ahead and open the file. So I'll go to my documents. This is T409 TaskA index. Lots of ways of doing it. Now, so anyway, this is just the HTML for the map we're doing. I need to change change this to my name, which is Matthew Zook, And right now, if you were to look at it, and if you did look at the original version, it was centered in Amsterdam. That's because Atta's from Amsterdam, and so he's doing a little propaganda. I want to change the coordinates of the map. We put in the coordinates for Lexington, so I'll just copy these coordinates, put them in to this particular spot, which is actually showing where the map is supposed to be centering, and save it. And that's all we really need to do for that. And if you want to, we can go look and see what the map looks like now. You see we have a map of centered on Lexington, and it's a map by Matthew Zook. If we were to look at this one, the original one, you would see it's actually centered in Amsterdam, and down here is the your name, which we changed, or I changed right there. So that is this step 4. Really straightforward. Now the last thing we do, or the next thing we have to do for step 5, is commit these changes through GitHub, and it's pretty simple. I first have to make an entry in the summary, changed name and location as per task A, and then I'll just hit commit and sync, and this means these changes are going up to my repository online. And so, and let me refresh this here. And so you can see here's my repository. It started out with module 3. Now we have task A and an index file, which if we look at, has my name and the coordinates down there. So essentially, what we've done, we've done this. Then we just take the, then we'll just take this this URL right here and submit it for the gradings, so we can get a look at it. And that's basically it. So we now have, we've copied these files over from the original location. We now have a location on the GitHub web location, but also a local location. So hopefully that makes sense. We'll talk more about this later. Thanks.